steps.
It's easy to take for granted. How often do you think about what it takes to keep that elevator you ride every day running smoothly? Well, sorry for the buzzkill, but behind the scenes, there are actually some serious questions being raised about elevator safety. Those questions being raised by elevator mechanics themselves. They're the ones who are ringing the alarm bells, and their concerns are being discussed up and down the state capitol in Annapolis.
It just stopped. I had to keep telling myself to stay calm. It's okay, stay calm. Your natural reaction is, what happens if the cables break?
You hit the button and you're thinking everything's good.
Everything is good.
The most mundane of tasks at work, in this case, led to a most unexpected moment.
You've worked in this building for almost 30 years now.
Yes.
So if there's one thing that you take for granted in this building,
Are the elevators? If you wanted to stay on or not.
Delphine Harrison, an administrator with the Montgomery County Council. She works at the county-owned building in Rockville. Hopped on the elevator on the 6th floor, headed to the council chambers.
Felt the elevator start to go down, and then it stopped. My nerves are going, oh no.
would it surprise you to know that for every elevator in the state of Maryland, the state inspector does not have to physically be present to sign off on the inspection?
No, I didn't know that. Yes, I am surprised. I thought if you were inspecting something, you had to be there to see it.
So it sounds ridiculous. I can't think of any other place where you can go and inspect something without actually physically being present. It makes zero sense.
For the past 2 years, Maryland delegate C.T. Wilson.
Do you believe that there's a safety issue with elevators in Maryland?
Huge safety issue.
He's tried to push a bill through the General Assembly, a bill that would tighten up the law on how elevators are inspected and certified that they're good to go.
So you know what's really pushing his buttons, Delegate Wilson? A decision made here in Annapolis back in 2009. You see, back then it was the norm for state inspectors to go along on that yearly test of an elevator to make sure everything was good. But there was a tremendous backlog. It was taking forever to get those inspections done. So the Maryland Attorney General decided that those state inspectors didn't have to witness that yearly test anymore. All an inspector has to do to verify that an elevator mechanic actually did all the things on the checklist that they're supposed to do is come in and look at the paperwork that that elevator mechanic filled out in a building's elevator machine room.
Okay, it looks good, and put their name on it and approve it, even though they never have even seen the work that was done.
Dave Geib has spent the last 37 years as an elevator mechanic.
They're just rubber
Stamping
stamping it essentially and
Yes.
saying it's good to go.
Yes, it does present a problem that we have lowered the standard in Maryland for elevator inspections. It truly does.
There's no data to support a safety problem on elevators in Maryland.
And on the other side of the issue, commercial and residential building owners. They've got a ton of elevators. Ron Weinholt for the Apartment and Office Building Association of Metro Washington.
Just as you wouldn't have a plumbing inspector watch a plumber fix pipes, you don't need a licensed inspector of an elevator watch a mechanic do his job as well. Because
Weinhold argues the proposed law would take Maryland back to the days of an inspection backlog, and that would cause more harm than good.
we think that would slow down elevator inspections and result in fewer inspections being done every year of elevators.
It's very important. We all ride elevators.
Delphine Harrison, back at the County Council building, spent a half hour stuck on that elevator.
Can you get on an elevator anymore and not think about what happened that day?
No, I'm always thinking about it.
So after you became more knowledgeable on this subject matter, you always think twice before hitting that up button?
Well, yeah.
You need to make sure it's done right.
So they know what could happen if an elevator malfunctions.
It's life or death.
Definitely.
We put a high priority on safety, and we don't think this legislation would make them more safe.
The Maryland Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulations is the state agency that checks up on elevators in Maryland. We asked them, going back to 2010, how many times had someone gotten hurt or even killed riding an elevator in the state? 5 times. 5. It took about a month, but I was able to get the report on each one of those incidents. One at Baltimore Police Headquarters, one at a church. And you can't look at these and say, yep, that's because an elevator worker didn't do their job, or if an inspector physically witnessed the mechanic, this wouldn't have happened. That supports the side that says this bill isn't necessary. Supporters, though, say that the number of injury accidents on elevators is underreported. You see, it's up to building owners to report injuries and accidents with elevators to the state, and the state can fine them up to $5,000 if they don't. But guess how much money the state of Maryland has collected in fines since 2010? Zero.